Welcome back, campaigners. Today I'm going to show you how to take one material, simple foam core, build a couple of small pieces to spruce up our basic modular dungeon tile into something a little more interesting. So I hope you stick around for that. Gonna jump right into it. See you after the bump. Thanks for coming. We're going to jump straight into this. These are designed to fit onto the 3-inch modular tiles. They're designed to fit on one tile, but there will be a piece that can fit between them for support later on. So I'll show you both of those. Let's jump into this real quick. I'm going to do the more complicated one first. This is the back wall, and it's going to have only one sort of complicated cut. The place where this is cut down to fit this little smaller height ledge here needs to be a 1/2 inch in. Now we've cut all these a 1/2 inch, so I'm just going to take that, grab a pen real quick, and use that 1/2 inch piece as my indicator for where that goes. Now this does not have to be particularly close or careful, just you want it to be all the way across. The uprights are going to cover the ends of it, so don't cut it yet, just draw it. We're going to go to my friend hot glue, as ever, low temp, because I don't like it to melt the foam. So we're going to use low temp glue, and first thing we're going to do is make the pedestals, the uprights. And we're just going to take the glue, run along one of the 2-inch pieces, take another one, wedge those together. Just watch for squeeze out. If you get any glue that squeezes out the side, you want to go ahead and wipe that off. You can use whatever glue you want. I just happen to like hot glue. It goes on easy, sets up quick, good to go. Now the foam does insulate it a bit, so you get a little bit of moving around time, a little bit of wiggle. So you get that, take care of that, any pieces that squeeze out. Make sure you got your tops, edges, everything lined up. Good to go. Now all this can be textured with spackle. You can hit it with a stone after. You can do whatever you want to texture it. You'll see on my finished piece in just a moment that I've got a spackle texture on it and then just painted over it. But I'll show you that at the very end. So we've basically got our 2 pedestals completed. Now we want those onto our back wall. We want those matched up right at the edges. Easy enough. Put the glue on the pedestal, not on the wall. You want to make sure you don't get it places where you don't want it. So, pedestal, line it up at the edge of the wall. I usually just stand it up and push it into place. And that's one done. Let's get the other one. Hot glue on the piece onto the back wall, line it up on that side. Now, at this point, I don't even know which is the top, so looks like that's gonna be the top, so put that to go that way. If you have any pieces that stick out over the others, you probably want to trim them off. I have one here, but it's not gonna make enough difference. The hot glue is gonna take care of that. Okay, now this piece, like I said, we just cut down to there, and the way you do that, you take your very sharp knife, probably want a smaller one than that. Take your very sharp knife and cut along this edge. Probably should have put the line on the other side. Let me go ahead and cut the line. Make a couple passes here just so it don't have too much rip out. There we go, all the way through there. Cut to the edge. Cut to the edge. Then a couple passes if you need to, just to get those out. Sorry, I'm super right-handed, so I can't spin this around to show you. But you get the idea. All I'm doing is cutting that piece out. That you can use instead of having cut the one piece, but I've already cut it and beveled it, so we're going to take this piece and discard it. As I've said before, I keep all of my offcuts of my foam so that I can use them for projects later. So that's the frame of it done. Now this piece we knew was a little bit long. That's why I cut it that way, just to make sure that I had extra in case I needed it. So now what we do is we take that piece and wedge it here, just right at that edge, so that I know how long to cut it. And then take that and where that line is that I just nicked it, take that off. That is our centerpiece. It's got, you can't really see that on this, but all three of these pieces have bevels on the edges. I don't know if that'll focus for you, but there's beveled edges on those. So you want to take that beveled edge and put that up into the front. And that's just going to glue right in there. Now you do want a little bit of overhang on the front, so hot glue along the top of the wall. Take your piece, wedge it in where you need it, make sure you've got the little overhang, and press that into place. Wow, I have a lot of squeeze out of that, so let me go ahead and get up in there and get that out. Okay. Now, if you are going to have this freestanding, you might still want a ledge on the back, but I'm going to presume that this is always going to be against the wall. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is after the glue hardens, I'm going to go ahead and cut that off, but it's not quite hardened up yet, so give it just a moment. Now, we're going to put the caps on. Same way. Now, these are 3/4 inch by 3/4 inch. This wall is a 1/2 inch wide by, I don't know, 5/8 front to back. So we're going to put the glue on the top of the wall and then put the cap on as close to centering it as works for us. That's going to make a nice, it's going to make an appealing image. So take glue, a little bit on the top. That's way too much. Way too much. Okay. There you go. Get it appealingly centered. And do the other side. As you can see, I've got a lip on each side and the front. Now, we'll let that harden for a second. Meanwhile, I'm going to take off this overhang here on this ledge, on that back, on that top ledge. Couple quick passes, smooth. Now we're going to do the same thing on the backs of the pillars, the pillar caps. Oh yeah, gotta love the squeaky foam. Like I said, I always save my little extra pieces, so those are going in my discard pile. And that's the wall basically done. Now, for a little extra support, I'm going to take this card that I've cut. I cut this to, this is just a piece of food packaging. That's the press board, cardboard. I cut it just a little bit narrower than the wall. I knew the wall is 3 inches, and this is, I think, 2 3/4. So I'm going to take that and just glue that on the back, but I want to make sure that I have it at the right height. So what I want to do is have my piece that I'm going to use it with ready. Put the glue on there. Put the card on there. And make sure that on that back edge, it's not sticking lower than the tile, but all the way to the edge of the tile, just because that's going to give me the most support. So that's just going to stay right there, and that'll be a little bit extra support when we butt up another tile or something behind it. So as you can see, that gives a little bit of support for it there. So that's the back wall. Here's one with the support. Here's one I haven't added support to. Give me just a second. I'll be right back, and I'll show you how we're going to do the steps. Okay, now for the stairs. The stairs just sit on the front like that, and you can see that they're pretty easy to make. There's only a few pieces to them. On the first layer, you don't even cut it. We just need it like that. The second layer is going to have a step cut out of it, so that step needs to be a 1/2 inch. You can take any piece, this is just one of the pieces left over from the other build. You can take anything that's a 1/2 inch and across the center inch lengthwise, somewhere in there, you want to draw a line. Now these pieces are both 3.5 inches long, so they're going to be longer on each side by a 1/4 inch than the tile. So these pieces, to leave 1 inch in the middle, now you can make this wider if you want, but I'm making this to fit 1 tile. So to make this have a 1 inch gap in it, each of these is 1 1/4. All these dimensions will be in the bottom. I think I've said that at the beginning of the video. So all you need to do now is take piece 2 and glue the 2 pieces for layer 3 onto it. Same deal, hot glue. And you want to make sure that the ends of those are lined up with the ends of piece 3. So that's going to line up right here on this end. And that's going to leave you 1 inch gap wide enough for your figurine to fit in. So while that's setting up, we'll go ahead and glue the bottom piece to it. Oh, nope, I haven't cut it yet. Let's not do that. We can go ahead and glue the top parts on. Now again, just like the others, these need to be beveled. So I'm going to go ahead and bevel these real quick, just to show you how easy this is. What we're going to do is take the knife, hold it, and just take that edge off. That edge goes in a scrap or in the trash. Now you want a really sharp knife for this. If you use a dull knife, it's going to peel out and you'll end up with jagged cuts. So you don't want the blade snagging. So there's one. Oops. I make mistakes, so you don't have to. Just that easy. Now these need to match right here onto what's going to become the front inner corner. I have glue stuck all over my nails. And we're going to take that and line that up. Glue. Catch any squeeze out, and that's one done. Second one, same way. That's it. Now, take a knife, and what's going to be the front, that lip is on the back, so what's on the front, we want to take, and I know I'm blocking out from the camera, but you get the idea. We're cutting right into here, and pressing against this edge, keep it lined up and cutting like this. Then, across. This is not the right knife for this, but I don't have any sharp blades for the other one, so. I made this really jagged. Luckily this is just for the video. Hopefully you'd cut better than that, or you have a way to texture over that. Now if I finish this one all the way out and I use the spackle, you won't even see this. This will all be hidden. So you can make mistakes and cover them up myriad ways. So nope, that one's ready to go onto the bottom layer. So I'm going to take that layer, put a little glue on it, line it up to the front edge, and press down. Wipe off any spray out, any squeeze out. Now, if you have any little lips where the foam doesn't match up perfectly and you want to fix that, now is the chance you to take your knife and trim off where you need to. But that's it basically done. Now I am going to attach another piece of card to this to make it so it'll clip on. I'll show you in just a moment. So we're going to take that, and I want to go not quite 3 inches across just to make sure that it stays kind of hidden. First I'll square that up a little. Alright, so that's 3. I want to go a little bit inside of that. A little bit of glue. Glue the card onto the foam. Now, that both makes it more rigid here, which is good, and also it makes it work like a little clip where it'll stay on there when it's on the table. So if your tile moves, the stairs go with it. So if you have this on there, that's the whole thing completed. Alright, I'll be back to show you a completed one with a paint job on it. Close your knife, don't keep doing what I'm doing, and I'll see you just after the bump. So there you go. Took a basic tile, added just a couple of pieces to it, created something a little bit extra, and it's going to lead, as you'll see that our adventurers will find in just a moment, to more adventure than they expected. Thanks for coming to Campaign Terrain. I hope you've enjoyed this simple little build. As ever, I am your host, That Guy Cross, and I love you. And until next time, I wish you luck in your campaign. High upon Kagalish, our adventurers had finally reached the destination. They had been told to simply pick up the device they found, remove it from the dais, and bring it back. As they stared at the device, one of them mumbled to the others, "This is going to cost extra, isn't it?" "Oh, you better believe it."